Hey everybody, it's Barry Johns and this is Studio Talk, and I'm going to get this out of the gate right now. I'm going to ruffle some feathers, all right? I'm sorry if I ruffle your feathers. I'm sorry if I upset you. I'm sorry if what I'm about ready to say is going to offend you, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to say it like it is, all right? We have to look forward in what we're doing, not backward. Too many of us want to live in the past. We can't do that because technology is advancing at such a rapid pace that we've got to look forward when you are deciding and I am deciding, where am I going to spend my money? Where is it going to give me the biggest return on investment, which ultimately equates to me being able to produce and create something that I'm proud of, that I want other people to listen to, and I want other people to enjoy. That's it at its most minimalistic perspective. That's a big word right there, and I don't know if I quite got it right, but you know what I mean, okay? I mean, look, a lot has changed. And you can be a Mac versus PC person all you want. I really don't care. Both systems historically have been very, very solid and very, very good for a very long time. However, you cannot deny the fact that what Apple has done with the new M1 chips is revolutionized our world. If you don't believe so, you're living in a cave, you're living in a bubble. That's all I've got to tell you, okay? You're just convincing yourself of what you want to hear. Eventually, Intel, AMD, all those other people will catch up and maybe surpass it. But as of today, I've got an Apple M1 MacBook Air back there that is its base model with 8 GB of RAM, and it destroys most computers that retail for $4,000 and over. So I'm sorry, you can debate that until the cows come home. If you don't have any personal experience with it, you need to zip it. That's all I'm telling you. You need to zip it because you don't know what you're talking about, okay? And it's not an Apple versus this or that. Many of you are making that mistake. But today's video is not about that. Today's video is, okay, when we see that type of technological advance, that gives us a roadmap for the future. For the last 20 years, I'm talking 20 years, all you young kids, you think you've got it all sorted out. You don't. You don't understand the perspective of it. For the last 20 years, they've been preaching that DSP is no longer needed, no longer needed, no longer needed. Yet all these interface companies keep incorporating DSP into their workflow. They would not waste their time or their effort if they did not think that users ultimately need it. Just because you don't need it does not mean I don't need it. Just because your workflow says that you don't need it doesn't mean mine doesn't. So quit being arrogant with that perspective. Look, I'm on a rampage right now. I'm just saying it like it is and laying it down. So now we've got to look at companies like Universal Audio and their UAD platform. All right? Their Apollo series have been massively successful for good reason. Historically, Universal Audio has been known for making some of the most amazing high quality plugins that you can buy. They were so good that you had to invest all this money into their hardware so that you could run their plugins. And that has been the case for a very long time. Longer than most of you kids out there have even been watching. That's how much you've got to understand the perspective of this. The UAD platform is over a decade old. I'm talking about the sharp processors on the chips on themselves that enable you to run their plugins. It's over a decade old, and they are still trying to milk that. Now, this is not a bash on UAD. It really isn't. You know, I was in a forum over the Gear page or whatever it's called. It used to be Gear Sluts. And I chimed in with the Universal Audio rep and basically said, look, I mean, you guys haven't updated these things in forever. If anything, you need to follow a different path. What that path needs to be, I made some recommendations, but they can sort them out on their own. But I'm sorry. The days where universal audio plugins were known to be far superior than everything else, I'm sorry, they're over. They're over. They may have a handful of plugins that fit that need, but most of their plugins have not been updated in forever. They are lagging behind the competition. Plugin Alliance and Brainworks has started to produce plugins that are as good, if not better, than the majority of similar plugins that Universal Audio offers, and yet they are a fraction of the cost. You know, Universal Audio is falling into the same old situation as Avid is following, trying to milk everything they can out of an existing platform that at its time was all that. It was the crap. It was the shit, if you know what I'm saying. I can't believe I just said it like that. Anyway, I mean, really good, okay? I'm being serious, okay? Really good. And again, I'm not bashing them, but at some point, okay, come on. What message are you sending to us users when you keep milking us and milking us? When I've got to start out with an Apollo, and then I've got to buy some satellite unit, either Thunderbolt or PCIe, to get more sharp processors so I can keep running your plugins. I'm sorry, that makes no sense today. And if you think so, I'm sorry, you're sadly mistaken. Now, if you're one of those situations where you've already got 3 or 4 Thunderbolt or PCIe sharp-based DSP processing for Universal Audio, and you can run all the plugins you want, well, I guess this doesn't apply to you. But I'm talking to somebody who's never bought into UAD at all. They've never spent a penny on it, and they're trying to decide which direction they go. Their converters today are very good. They haven't always been that good, okay? They haven't always hit that out of the park like they have other things that they do. So Universal Audio needs to change. And this is a message that much it is to everyone out there trying to decide where you're going to go with your next purchases, as it is directly to Universal Audio. I mean, come on. It's getting to the point to where it's insulting at this point. When you've got, I think it's almost 15 years, but I'm going to be nice and say a decade. That's how long it's been since you've updated your DSP processors on your chips. I'm sorry. What that tells all of us is you are trying to milk us dry and take advantage of your history. I hate to break it to you. Your history's great. I won't take anything away from that. You were king of the mountain for a very long time. But simply today is you're not king of the mountain. You're up the mountain. I'm not going to take that away either. I mean, you still have great products at the end of the day. But you've got competition right on your heels. And if you don't recognize that, you're a fool. Because when you look at what Plugin Alliance and Brainworks is doing right now with their subscription model, where you can get all of their plugins in, at the end of the year, they basically give you almost the equivalent of what you invested over that year so you can buy their plugins. I'm sorry. How are you going to keep up with that? Most of your plugins haven't been updated for years. I spent today going around various forums, reading various complaints about what people have that are invested in the UAD infrastructure, okay? And there's a lot of them, but you could find that about any particular application, any particular DAW, any particular plugin manufacturer. So I think it's fair to take that for what it is. But I just think that you have got to change. I'm telling you right now, today, my advice, this is my personal opinion, do not invest in the UAD platform today. Do not go down that rabbit hole. Their plugins are outrageously expensive, and they simply are not as good compared to the competition as they used to be. Okay, some of them are. I'm going to give them credit for that. Some of them are, but when you look at all of the whole of their plugins, they simply are not the dominant factor that they used to be. You have so many great choices and interfaces that you can purchase. You have so many great choices for plug-in manufacturers. And you know what? I personally would love to see UAD rise right back to the top of that hill. I would love to see them do that because I think they're a good company. I think they're just lost right now. I think they have tried to milk this for far too long and have been oblivious to the technology happening around them. We are finally at that point. I don't care what you say. Right now, the majority of the people out there do not need DSP to be able to track their audio. They do not need it. The majority of people do not need it, okay? For those that do need it, okay, and some people do need it, and I consider myself in that particular category, but I understand I'm a small percentage of that, mainly due to my workflow. But that's irrelevant to the discussion I'm making right now, or the point I'm trying to make right now, is that when you see what they're doing currently today with the M1X, with a $1,000 entry level computer that is slaying other $4,000 computers from a power perspective, okay? What's going to happen in the next incarnation? What's going to happen next year, okay? And I'm sorry, we are actually finally at that point where no one, and I mean absolutely freaking no one, is going to need DSP processing. Yeah, I'm ramped up on this. I guess I'm ramped up way more than I usually am because I think this is passionate, because I get frustrated. I get frustrated with companies out there that try to push it too far. And I've had my issues with Avid, and I'm having my issues with Universal Audio right now. When I saw the response in that forum, I was like, you've got to be freaking kidding me, okay? You're just falling under the same old corporate crap. Okay. And so I think that was one person speaking, could have been taken out of context. Understand that. I want to be fair. I want to be balanced. But Universal Audio, it's time for you to make the transition. Okay. Maybe you want to copy Avid and what they've done with their hybrid engine to where you finally actually break down and make your plugins, okay, run off computer power and no longer this DSP, and then enable yourself. If you want to track through something with zero latency, you can track through your plugins and continue to go around that particular way of working. But you know darn good and well, you're only going to be able to milk that for another year or so. That's it. That's all you're going to get. Are you willing to ruin the amazing reputation that you have developed? You're so highly respected and so highly regarded. Are you really willing to let that all fall apart right now? You know what? I in my day job, I live in the corporate world, okay? I understand how insane it is at times and how it makes no logical sense whatsoever. The decision-making process can be absolutely asinine at times, okay? And that's not every day, okay? But I understand it. I get it, all right? But I also know competition is fierce. We live in a competitive world. And right now, if you continue with the same trajectory, in this guy's opinion, and I could be completely wrong, okay? Hey, look, everybody, I could be completely wrong about all of this. Completely wrong, 100% about all of it. I may be completely lost and completely clueless right here, right now, today, but I don't think I am. I don't think I am. I think companies need to be forward thinking and not backwards thinking. And I think companies like Avid have lived in the past. I think Universal Audio is living in the past. Just look at what's happening with all of their major hardware. Okay, it's being cloned like crazy, and people are making better clones than their originals. I mean, who's going to go out and buy a Universal Audio 1176 when you've got all these clones that are just as good? Who's going to go out and buy an LA2A when you've got all these clones that are just as good? You need to start rethinking your business. You cannot live like this going into the future, or you will simply just go away. And I don't want you to go away. I want you to succeed. And I hope you listen. And look, hey, look, guys, if you're a UAD user and you're like so pissed off that I'm saying what I'm saying right now, I'm sorry. I'm just keeping it real. I'm saying it like it is, straight up. Okay? Straight up. I'm not saying you made a bad mistake investing in what you did. You, at the time when you bought it, it was probably, and I'm confident it was the right decision. But you've got to think about where you're going right now. And we have more options today than we have ever had. This is coming from somebody that's been doing this 40 years. Okay. We have more options and more tools available today than we have ever had. And that is only going to continue to increase. You got it? Okay. So, end of my rant, end of my post. If you like the content I talk about on this video, like, subscribe, notify. If you can't stand what I say, put it in the comments down below. You're not going to hurt my feelings, okay? At the end of the day, all I care about is putting out an opinion that is true to my heart, to my feelings, to my thoughts. And if people don't like it, I can accept that. I can handle that. I'm a big boy. I'm cool with that. Okay. But I'm just laying out there and being real, or at least I'm trying to. So until next time, I hope you all have a great day.